This is my presentation on PCP. What is PCP? PCP is a psychedelic drug like LSD, commonly sold as a street drug in powder form, which can be dissolved in alcohol or water. Angel dust is one of the most common nicknames, and it is when it's in powder form mixed with mint leaves, parsley, or low-grade marijuana. Unlike other psychedelics, PCP is known for its users being very violent, and there still is no, quote, scientific reason why, though it does affect serotonin, which is associated with emotions, though other drugs causing similar hallucinations by affecting serotonin aren't seen to have such great effects. To the right is Brian Lewis Saunders' self-portrait while on PCP. He did a bunch of self-portraits on different drugs, and this is his one on PCP. Why do people use PCP? PCP is a psychedelic which acts on the central nervous system, so it affects your mood, behavior, and what you see/feel about the world around you. You get a euphoric high, it feels like you're floating, and you have a newfound sense of self. Users have claimed to feel numb, which is probably because of its effect on mu opioid receptors. But let's just see what an actual user has to say about it.
How did you feel when you used the angel dust?
I don't know. I just felt blazing.
Effective dose, lethal dose, and therapeutic index, and how it's administered. PCP can be snorted, smoked, injected, or swallowed as a pill/powder. The effective dose is 5 to 10 milligrams, the lethal dose is greater than 3,980 milligrams, and the therapeutic index is 398 with high tolerance and 796 with low tolerance. The half-life of PCP is 4 to 8 hours. Some users may experience effects up to 24 to 48 hours after using, though. It's metabolized by the CYP450 enzyme, though there's not much info online, so by inference, I think that it's possible that the CYP2D6 enzyme is another enzyme that can metabolize it, which it metabolizes other drugs that have similar effects. Cyclohexanol is its metabolite, and a urine drug test can track if a person has taken PCP up to 8 days since administered. How does PCP affect cells? PCP stimulates the ventral tegmental area and sends signals to the nucleus accumbens with dopamine. Stimulates the mu opioid receptors, could be the cause of it blocking pain and making users numb. It acts as an antagonist, blocking the receptor and causing excess dopamine in the synaptic cleft. It stimulates the NMDA receptor as an antagonist. It inhibits the uptake and facilitates the release of dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine. PCP, like other psychedelics, causes hallucinations because it interacts with serotonin production besides dopamine, which helps us stay awake, and things like memory and literal perception. Basically, it can block all these receptors and have all these neurotransmitters in the synaptic cleft. It's an antagonist to all of them. Is PCP addictive? Well, tolerance is evident, dependence can develop, and people start needing PCP just to live life. Withdrawal symptoms include anxiety, being excited, tense, or irritable, and hallucinating. Physical withdrawal reactions may include twitching, stirring, muscle breakdown, weight loss, increasing body temperature, and seizures. Helps versus harms. Well, some of its benefits is the sense of being invincible, feeling courageous, and its nickname is, well, horse tranquilizer, because that's what it used to do. So it used to be a horse tranquilizer. Its harms is it increases blood pressure, temperature, heart rate, and breathing rate. It makes you numb to pain, which you could say is a benefit, but it's most of the time in the cases it just causes people to hurt themselves because they don't know what's going on. Slurring words and stuttering after a long time use, and memory loss because of damage to the hippocampus and limbic system. Large doses can make you untrusting and become violent or start to act strangely, which is the most common side effect. Depression and anxiety, which can lead to a suicide attempt, can also happen. A very large dose, usually taken by the mouth, can cause kidney failure, heart arrhythmias, muscle rigidity, seizures, or death. Long usage can cause psychosis like schizophrenia. Societal implications. PCP was originally made in the 1950s to be used as an intravenous anesthetic, Cernal, but post-operative hallucinations ended its use in 1967, where it was limited to veterinary use. Nowadays, it's a Schedule II drug and used at raves and parties typically. Though it's considered Schedule II, its medicinal benefits have not been benefits since before the 2000s. Its nickname, horse tranquilizer, refers to its veterinary use, but in modern day, it's not even used for that. Listica says it's Schedule I, but the government websites say otherwise. So if you look up on Google, for example, is PCP Schedule I, it'll say no, PCP is a Schedule II drug, and it'll list these sources that say it's Schedule II, it's Schedule II, it's Schedule II. None of them say it's Schedule I except for Listica. If I were to say if it's Schedule I or Schedule II, right now, I'd say that it's Schedule 1. So, based on what I've seen, it's Schedule 1. But for some reason, it's still considered Schedule 2 because of this tranquilizing. So here's a video of it being used, quote, properly. I would not say it's properly. And they say in the video, actually, that it's not good for the animal. But yeah, at the time, they were still using it.
His passage to anesthesia will be turbulent. Initially, PCP acts like a stimulant for both animals and humans. As the dose increases, the effects of PCP change to a depressant.
It also has some side effects and negative drawbacks to the use of the drug. In some animals, we see a fairly high incidence of convulsions, unless you mask it with other drugs.
PCP causes other side effects. Victor's temperature will rise. He will over-salivate and could drown in his own saliva. He could begin vomiting uncontrollably. Early this year, legal manufacturers stopped making PCP.
All right, this is the PCP event icebergs. Okay, we're going to start at the top, which is the less dangerous cases of PCP use, going to the bottom, which is the worst cases of people on PCP. So at the top of the PCP iceberg, we have the spiked clam chowder incident on the set of Titanic. A lot of people thought that they were dying. They thought it was some sort of neurotoxin because PCP is much stronger than some other drugs. It's most commonly smoked, but it's much stronger than like marijuana, for example. So even just like the smallest dose can make you feel like super loopy and out of it.
People are freaking out. Some people are Congo dancing. Some people are
you?
euphoric. I knew I was pretty stoned on something pretty bad, and I thought me and Jim thought that there was a neurotoxin in the clams.
Right, and then we go a little bit lower. So a man actually broke out of his handcuffs, which would require over 550 pounds of force, so there's not much information on it, but he probably broke his wrist breaking out those handcuffs, which is why the numbing effect of PCP is not... It's not really a good thing. It's a bad thing. People don't know what they're doing and they hurt themselves. Then we go a little bit lower, and this goes back to the documentary. Jackie, a woman in the documentary, actually watched her friend drown. She watched her friend drown in a pool, and her friend was begging for help, but she was on PCP, and she just thought nothing of it because, you know, she's feeling all these hallucinations, and she's a long-time user, so she's on a lot of drugs. And in this documentary, she actually goes to... basically a psych ward is what it is. That's not how they describe it, but it's basically a psych ward to try and get help. And she gets clean, at least briefly. There's no update on it. It's from the 1970s, so who knows? But it's very interesting because she just didn't know what was going on. Watch her friend drown.
I said, you really swim under the water real good.
Then we have 2 child murder cases while on PCP, and this is when PCP is taken wet, which is a mix of PCP and marijuana. The information is very brief. Then we go a little bit down. A woman actually fried her own baby in cooking oil, which this may be the worst. I think that the next one is probably even worse, though, because the last event that I have here is that rapper Big Lurch ate his friend's lungs after taking PCP. He said that his last thought was the world's ending.
You know that you were actually chewing on her flesh, allegedly, when the cops came?
No, I didn't know nothing about that. The next thing I remember is waking up in a room by myself, and it was horrible.
And the narcotics detective said that it was an anomaly, so it hadn't really happened before. But he also said that he has, quote, no idea why people use drugs, and it seems like his job was mainly taking down large gangs and producers of PCP. A lot of these cases, there's not much information. There's not a lot of public information, but we know that they happen.